Well, I know that we weren't close.
Red West had a secret he carried for decades, one born from loyalty, forged in friendship, and sealed by a bond that went far beyond stardom. 81, the man who once stood in the shadows of Elvis Presley, finally stepped forward with the truth. Not for fame, not for revenge, but for something far deeper. It was a final tribute to the man behind the legend, and a warning that even icons can fall under the weight of their crown. To the world, Elvis was the king. But to Red, he was a complex, often conflicted man, a best friend, a brother in spirit, and sometimes a stranger. Their connection went back to their teenage years in Memphis. Red remembered Elvis as different from day one, the slick hair, the wild clothes, and the shy voice that held surprising strength. Others mocked him. Red defended him. That moment in the high school hallway started a friendship that would span over 2 tumultuous decades. When Elvis shot to stardom with Heartbreak Hotel, he didn't reach out to managers or executives. He called Red. He wanted someone who knew him before the limelight. Red became more than just security. He was Elvis's confidant, a fixture in the wild chaos of Graceland, the quiet protector during 3 a.m. motorcycle rides, the voice of reason during emotional storms. Life inside the Memphis Mafia was anything but ordinary. Red lived by Elvis's clock. If the king wanted to fly to Denver for a sandwich, they were on a plane. If he wanted a backyard karate match or a gospel sing-along, no one questioned it. Elvis didn't operate by normal rules, not in his world of fame, wealth, and isolation. Red adapted, sometimes with pride, often with exhaustion. But behind the glitz was a man who often seemed lost. Elvis could shift from childlike joy to brooding silence in an instant. Red learned not to ask questions, just to be present. There were nights filled with laughter and pranks, and others haunted by silence, pills, and pain. Elvis worried constantly. He worried about his fans, his relevance, his performances. After shows where thousands screamed his name, he'd retreat backstage and ask, "Did I do okay?" That vulnerability broke Red's heart. Red spoke of Elvis's overwhelming generosity. He'd give away cars, watches, even homes without a second thought. But beneath the gifts, Red saw a man trying to give pieces of himself away, as if hoping it would lighten the burden he carried. And while Red was loyal, he also saw danger. Elvis was surrounded by people who said yes to everything, who stayed close only when it served them. Red warned him. He pushed back. And that honesty eventually cost him. Over time, Elvis changed. The pressure, the pills, the fame, it wore him down. His inner circle began to fracture. Red, still fiercely loyal, found himself increasingly shut out. He noticed the signs, the slurred speech, the forgetfulness, the depression. But Elvis didn't want saving. Or maybe he just didn't know how to be saved. Red never wrote a tell-all out of bitterness. When he finally spoke up, it wasn't to shame Elvis, but to remind the world of his humanity. He said that myths are easy to remember, but men like Elvis deserve to be remembered in full, with all their beauty and all their flaws. Red mourned not just the legend lost, but the friend he couldn't protect. Their friendship began in the dusty streets of Memphis, long before Vegas lights and platinum records. Red remembered Elvis in his purest form, the teenager strumming a guitar, the boy with dreams too big for one lifetime. They grew up together. They made mistakes together. And even when Elvis drifted into a world Red couldn't reach, that bond never truly broke. Inside Graceland, the Memphis Mafia tried to keep the machine running. But the machine needed more than loyalty. It needed truth, discipline, and intervention. Red tried. He warned Elvis about the medications, the late nights, the people whispering in his ear. But Elvis didn't always listen. In time, even Red's presence became too much of a mirror. Till he stayed. Through tours, heartbreaks, health scares, and breakdowns, Red remained close. Not for money. Not for status. But because he still saw the man who never liked being alone, the boy who once needed protection in a school hallway. In his later years, Red spoke softly about Elvis. Not with bitterness, but sorrow. He said he never regretted being there for him. He only wished he could have done more. To Red, Elvis was never just a king. He was a good man, flawed but kind. Powerful but often powerless against the forces pulling him apart. Red West spent years keeping quiet. He honored a trust most would have broken. And when he finally did speak, it wasn't to rewrite the past, but to make sure Elvis's truth didn't vanish in the glitter of nostalgia. His confession wasn't about scandal. It was about love, loss, and the heavy cost of loyalty. Red didn't just guard the king of rock and roll. He tried to save him. And when he couldn't, he made sure the world remembered the man who lived behind the music, the image, and the legend.